All right. So let's just start about, basically what CFA is all about. I'll just introduce myself very quickly. So I graduated from Xavier's in 2012, completed CA in 2013. Along with that, I did CFA, FRM, CAIA, CS, CCRA, and I'll be doing CIPM once your exam is there, my exam bhi hoga. So I'll be appearing for CIPM next year, March. And I'm a visiting faculty at most of the colleges over here, Xavier's, Bhawanipur, JDBI, and I lead BIBSI, trade a couple of B schools and NSE, BSE stock exchanges. I do a lot of corporate training in MS Excel, Advanced Excel, financial modeling, and Excel area and finance area for companies like Tata, Volvo, Genpact, Centuryply, Saregama recently we did, then Quaker Chemicals we did last year again, I'll be doing it next week or something, and Genpact, E-Trans, and AUM Capital, Om Capital we had done. So that is what I do, and along with that I do a lot of consulting work in the budgeting, forecasting, MIS, valuations, B plans, and all this domain. So we've got clients India and abroad, Australia, US, UK, and I do these professional classes for CFA, FRM, all the levels, and CA final finance paper. And we've got our Excel classes over here also. It's corporate training for students, and these classes, these professional courses, they are available in India and abroad everywhere. Right. So basically this is what I do. Let's start with the CFA curriculum. CFA exam is one of the most coveted financial designations. Now a lot of people, the first question everybody asks me, CFA ki FRM. So CFA is a designation in finance. It's a global designation. FRM is a designation in finance specializing in risk management, and that is also a very coveted designation. CFA, FRM and CAIA together is known as the Triple Crown in finance in the US. So just to clear that part. CFA is one of the most coveted designations in finance. CFA exam is conducted globally. You can give one exam in India, the second one in US, and the third one in UK. So you can give any of the exams anywhere across the globe. You have 3 levels for the CFA exams. The first level, level 1, you can appear either in June or in December. The level 2 and level 3 exams can be taken only in the month of June. The exams are always taken on the 3rd Saturday of a June or a December month. So you can just check the first Saturday of June, that will be the date for your examination. That will be your exam in the year 2017, right? The level 1 exam, so the shortest time you can complete the course is 1.5 years. December, level 1, June, level 2, and next year, June, level 3. So you need about a 1.5 years time, minimum amount of time to cover the 3 levels, right? I'll just start off with the syllabus first because I want you guys to understand the whole area, the whole syllabus in detail. Before we start off, I'll discuss how to practice, how to study, books, calculator, job, scope, everything. We'll cover every single question of yours. But first of all, I want you to understand the content because a lot of times I see people decide on doing a particular course, a particular degree, they take up something without even knowing the syllabus, what's there in it. So you need to first understand what we are looking at. You need to know what you're going to be studying. So the CFA curriculum, it's divided, the institute has divided the whole curriculum in a very nice manner. That is, when you look at the Indian exams, out of syllabus question aaya, yahan se aaya, and all those questions, all those ambiguities there. But over here, you do not have any ambiguity. Your whole curriculum has been divided into 18 study sessions. 18 study sessions. Your whole curriculum has been divided into 18 study sessions. Each study session is basically comprising of, let's say, 2 chapters, 3 chapters, 4 chapters. So basically there are 18 groups. Those 18 groups have been again categorized into 10 subjects. So let's say the first subject is ethics. The second subject is quants. Now ethics has only one study session and there are about 3 to 4 chapters. We call the chapters over here topic review. There are 3 to 4 chapters in ethics. The first, it's only one study session and each chapter we call it topic review. Every chapter, let's say for example, you have a 20-page chapter. Every chapter is divided into learning outcome statements. Hi-fi terms or kuch nahi hai. So basically what it is you've got a subheading, then you've got a page. Then there is another subheading, then there is a page. So basically every single chapter has been defined, every subheading has been defined. So in a LOS, they will tell you, you need to be able to calculate this. So then the formula and the calculation is important. If it is given, you need to describe this. Then you only need to have an understanding about it and you do not need to calculate it. So basically the syllabus has been defined really well. The syllabus has been defined, has been outlined really well. Every subheading is a learning outcome statement, LOS. I guess it's okay. 1.5 page का content होगा, maybe half page, maybe even 10 lines का there could be an LOS. Small subheads, big subheads. So ethics is one study session with about 3-4 chapters. I'll discuss the subject in detail. Quants we'll have 2 study sessions. We will have economics that has got 3 study sessions in it. Book 3 has got financial reporting analysis that has 4 study sessions in it. Book 4 is going to have corporate finance, I guess. Yeah, corporate finance, portfolio, equity. And the last one would be fixed income, derivatives and alternate investments. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Perfect. So we've got our 18 study sessions. Now do not think of it ki 10 subjects, how much will I have to study? Because alternate investment is a 20, 25 page chapter. That is one subject, one study session, one topic review. That's all. So it's only a 20 page thing. So you're not supposed to be counting it as a subject. Right? A derivatives would be somewhere around 40 page, 30, 35 page content. That is one subject for you. So do not treat it like, the syllabus is huge and, how will we complete? You have the whole syllabus categorized into 18 study session. Now this study session has only one chapter. This study session will have, I think, 1 to 3 chapters. This has 2 study sessions, 4 chapters each. This will have again 3 and 3 chapters, 2 study sessions, so 6 chapters. We call those chapters topic reviews, right? And every topic review has been divided into learning outcome statements, different subheadings. The syllabus is properly defined. Now you have the institute's material, which you can order. You also will need the Schweizer books. I'll discuss that. You need to buy Schweizer textbooks. You'll need to buy those. We'll discuss about the books and all. I'll come to that a little later. Let's start with the subject. What is there in each of the subjects? How do you need to prepare? Level 1, 2 and 3, you will have the level 1 and level 2 has got identical, all the same subjects are there. So level 1 has got these 10 subjects. Level 2 also has got the same 10 subjects. Level 1, your base, your foundation, your understanding, your concept needs to be very strong. Because the whole of level 1 is kind of included in level 2. You cannot understand level 2 until unless you understand level 1. You have the same subjects. So try to keep your base, your concepts, your foundation very strong. In the class, we'll prove at least 80 to 90% of the formulas will be proved and made you understand. Because you cannot mug up so many formulas, and mugging up will not help. Mugging up will not help. If you're mugging up, you're not clearing the exam. Take it from me. If you're mugging up, you will not clear the exam. So we have to understand. We'll focus on understanding every single formula, every single aspect. Right? Level 1 and 2 has got the same subjects. Level 3, you will be not having, you'll not have this, you'll not have this, and rest you'll have. So level 3, you'll have 2-3 subjects will be deleted. Level 3 focuses on this subject portfolio more, and level 2 will have a lot of focus on equity. I'm just trying to give you the paper pattern first. In the level 1, you'll have 2 exams. You'll have 1 day exam, 2 papers. 9 o'clock to 12 o'clock is paper 1 and 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock is paper 2. Each paper will be 120 MCQs. So you will have 9 to 12, 120 MCQs. And 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock, 120 MCQ. That is your level 1 paper format, right? You will have 3 options each and there will be no negative marking. There is no negative marking. You have only 3 options per question. The questions will not be jumbled up. Your questions are going to be it's very systematic. The first 18 questions will be ethics. So they'll write ethics, you'll have 18 questions. Then the next 14 questions will be quants. The percentage, the number of questions, you'll get it in the list. You have the first 18 questions from ethics, then the next 14 from quants. I think economics is 10 or 12. Then you have 24 questions from FRA. You have, I think, 10 questions from corporate finance, 6 or 8 or something from here, then over here. Then fixed income is another 10 or 12 questions, I guess, 6 and then 4 questions. So you have a very simple order of questions. They are not going to be jumbled up. Total 120 questions, 18 plus 14, etc. 120 questions. You give it in the paper 1, 9 to 12 o'clock. Same day, 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock, in the same manner you'll have again all the subjects ka paper. So you'll have again the 18 question, 14 questions. So you have 2 papers. You don't have the whole of ethics in the first half and whole of quants in the second half. You have the same format paper in the 9 to 12 section and 2 to 5 section. You'll be marking the question on an OMR sheet. It's not a computer-based question. There is no negative marking. In the level 2 exams, you have 60 MCQs and 60 MCQs instead of 120 for the same duration. So you have your exam only one day. It's a one day time. You don't have like 10 papers like a CA or a CS examination or a BCom examination. You have the exam in a single day basis. The 60 MCQs in the level 2, there is a little slight difference. In level 1, you have a question 3 option. In CFA level 2 examination, you'll have like a 1 or a 2 page question, and on those 2 page question, you'll have 6 MCQs. Then again a 1 or a 2 page question, then you again have 6 MCQs. That is how you'll have 10 item sets. One item set is a passage, 6 questions. Passage, 6 MCQs. So you have 10 item sets, 60 questions, 10 item set in the level 2. The level 3 exam will have again 10 item sets over here in the second half, but the first half is a written examination. Now a lot of people get very concerned and who's going to check my paper, my handwriting is this, my English is that, and the format of paper is said to be essay type questions in level 3. You do not have to write essay, that's how they write it. That's how these people in the US call it, they call it essay type questions. Level 3, second half is 60 MCQs. The first half is, you know how they give it? They'll give you like, say for example, state 2 reasons for it. You'll have a box, you'll have to put 2 reasons over there. Which of the following is true and give a reason for it. So you circle true and false, whichever is the right answer. You circle the right answer and you write 2 points to it. It is again going to be very conceptual, very objective and very straightforward paper. If you think you're going to be beating around the bush and writing nonsense, it's not going to work in CFA. Level 3, you don't have to write anything in level 1 and 2. In the level 3, you cannot write nonsense and get away with it. Like, we try to write thoda summary and idhar udhar and beat around the bush and try to get it done. All that is not going to work at all. Right? Crisp answer. So it's objective paper. They write it essay type questions. Don't be scared. It's not essay type questions. Technically, according to our Indian examination, it's those 2 mark, 3 mark objective type papers. Right? You understand the study pattern? June examination is level 1, 2 and 3 all, but level 1 takes place twice a year, June and December. Right. Let's jump into the syllabus. And since there are no negative marking, there's no negative marking, and it's totally MCQ based paper, the passing percentage is somewhere around 40%. Try to understand, people are paying a lot of money, so everybody studies and appears for the exam. Nobody's going to take these exams very lightly. Everybody's studying. Your concepts need to be thorough. With 3 options and no negative marking, don't assume it to be little too easy. The content is easy if you're understanding and studying. So I'm telling you again, if you're not understanding things, if you want to mug up, I'm not going to be able to help you. Nobody, you'll not clear the exam if you're mugging up. So from the very first day, try to understand. We need to understand our content very thoroughly. That is why I'm taking the time and pain to explain every formula. 80-90% of the formulas we'll have to prove. It's very important. Okay, let's understand the syllabus. Now let's say, for example, let's talk about ethics, suppose. So the first subject is ethics. Ethics is very important when you talk about clearing your exam. If you want to pass your CFA exam, this subject and this subject is going to be very important. I'll tell you the reason. Ethics, the first chapter, the first study session is going to be the same in level 1, 2 and 3. So try to understand the importance of the study session. The same content, 80% of ethics is same in level 1, 2 and 3. There is only one extra small chapter that we add. So ethics, the first study session is going to be exactly the same in all the 3 levels of CFA. So ethics is very important. Let me give you a few examples of ethics. Now say for example, I am teaching finance, so I have a good number of students. I talk to a lot of people. I interact with a lot of people. I'll start putting Facebook status that or Twitter, or I'll start sending emails that this company XYZ is a very good company. Everybody please buy the company ka stock. The prices are going to go up like anything. Why am I doing that? Because I have those companies ka shares already. If everybody starts buying the company ka shares, company ka share prices start climbing up, and then I will sell the company ka shares at a higher price, and you people will lose your money because you're investing in a company which is not so good. I am manipulating the market. It is a violation of ethics standard. I cannot do that. That's wrong. Say for example, I have an investment management team, and suppose from XYZ bank. Let's say I go to an XYZ website, xyzequityresearch.com. I take their research report, I do a control C, control V, copy paste, and I sell it as my report. It is plagiarism. I am copying someone else's work and I'm trying to sell that work in my own name. That is a violation of ethics. I'll give you a better example. Suppose I have I have an investment management company. I have a client. So say for example, Mr. Ratan Tata is a client of mine. He gave me 5 crore rupees and he told me you invest these 5 crore rupees and you try to make some money out of it. You try to earn. You invest these 5 crore money, you manage my portfolio, you manage my money. Okay, I take his money, 5 crore rupees. Now, she's a friend of mine. She has a startup of her own. She's starting off some boutique something. What she does is, the marriage season is there. She stitches a nice suit and sherwani and all that for me for the wedding. She gifts me. Now what I do is I'll put Tata's money over here in her company. Don't you think I'm being very biased towards her company because I'm getting a lot of gifts from her? She's giving me a lot of gifts. So I'm being biased. I'm putting Mr. Tata's money over there. Don't you think I'm violating certain kind of an ethic, certain kind of a code? I am supposed to be putting Mr. Tata's money in the best possible places where it's going to generate return for him. Not in places where I'm getting gifts and free hampers and all. That is a violation of your objectivity. I'm not being objective. I'm being biased. No? I'm being influenced by someone else. That is a violation of ethics, for example. Cheating in the examinations is an ethics. Don't even dare to try cheat in the examinations. It's not going to get you anywhere. The proctors and all will not tell you that you're cheating. They'll write it 11:20. This person was looking at left on right, and she will mail it to the institute. They'll not even tell you whether you're cheating or not. So don't even attempt to cheat. So that is a violation of your code of ethics. So we have 7 standards: professionalism, knowledge of the law, independence, objectivity, misrepresentation, misconduct. Then that is your first standard. Second standard is integrity of capital market. Market manipulation nahi kar sakte, and there's another one. Then there is a duty to client, duty towards employers. So we have 7 standards, and within those 7 standards, we've got 3-4 substandards: 4A, 4B, 4C, 5A, 5B, 5C, 5D. Say for example, preservation of confidentiality. Suppose she's a client of mine. Now when she's a client of mine, she would ask me to invest her money. Of course, I would be knowing about her financial problems and financial issues because she's a client of mine. How would I invest? How would I make a portfolio for her if I don't even know about, how is she going about the, what is there in her personal life? Okay, she needs money after 2 years. Her mother is suffering from something, so I need a liquidity part. I need to maintain funds for her health. Okay, she wants to buy a house after 5 years. She wants to get married after 7 years. So I need money at the end of 5 years. I need money at the end of 7 years. So I need to know her. I'll have a lot of financial information about her, right? Don't you think I'm not allowed to leak that information to someone else about her? There is a confidentiality that I need to maintain. But there could be certain cases where I can talk about her. Say for example, she's a drug lord. Anybody seen Narcos? No. I give a lot of examples from these movies and sitcoms. Just start watching these, otherwise how will I explain these examples? Anyways, jokes apart. So say for example, she's a drug lord. Right? Now she's selling drugs, illegal business and all. Don't you think it might become my responsibility to report to the concerned authority about it? That, she's doing illegal activities. So in that case, the preservation of confidentiality will not work. So we will need to study those standards. Now questions, how are the questions from ethics framed? They'll give you a case in a few lines, like, so-and-so person is a so-and-so CFA and she did, so-and-so person had Anna Smith, CFA, she was working in this investment management company, she did this, she did that, then this happened to her, her client told her to do this, she did that. So basically a whole story is going to be cooked up. And then the question will be, which of the following standards is Anna Smith violating? Option A, this standard; option B, this standard; option C, this standard. You will need to understand which standard has she violated. Has she violated, or no standard has been violated? Or standard A and standard B both have been violated. You don't need to remember the number of the standards, but you need to know the name and the content of the standard. Now confusion will be there. There will be certain weird kind of questions, weird kind of situation where there could be a conflict, there could not be a conflict. So it's very subjective. When you look at most of the other subjects, you will know that, okay, answer is 2 plus 2 has to be equal to 4. But when I ask you a subjective question, something which seems to be a violation of ethics might not be a violation of ethics. You're getting the idea. So ethics is going to be a very important section because one, there is going to be a lot of ambiguity. There is going to be a lot of ambiguity with respect to the answers. You cannot, 100% confirm that my answer is right. So a lot of practice is required. I will teach. For me, teaching ethics is going to take maximum 1.5 classes. For me, the content is less because I need to explain all the 7 standards. But from your point of view, a lot of practice for ethics needs to be done. There is no other way. Learning the content will not help. You have to learn the content and you'll have to practice. Learning will take you 2 hours. You have to practice. And the same 7 standards are there in level 1, level 2 and level 3. So do you understand the importance of ethics? If you're not clearing ethics, you're not clearing your CFA exams. So ethics is given a lot of importance to by the institute. So you have to make sure. Along with that, there are 2 more chapters. There's a new chapter that has been introduced in ethics, a small chapter, and there's another chapter called GIPS that is dealing with the Global Investment Performance Standards. I'll just briefly, GIPS is a very small chapter. So level 1 is like 7 standards plus GIPS. Level 2 is 7 standards plus asset code, equity research code, and level 3 7 standards plus asset code. So there's a 2, 3, 4 page small chapter that they keep on adding in level 1, 2 and 3. But the 7 standard is same. Most of your questions, majority questions comes from the 7 standards, right? And for the 7 standards, you'll get a sheet about 18-20 page sheet, which covers around 600-700 examples. So all the 600-700 examples are summarized in just a 15-20 page sheet. It's very helpful. So you'll get that. So you can always, but it's not a substitute for practice. You'll have to practice. Now I'll give you another example of GIPS, the second chapter you have in ethics. Say for example, I have a fund. I'm a mutual fund manager. I tell you, there is a client who comes to you, कि भैया आपका fund में I'll invest. So I'm like, okay, fine, ठीक है. My my return of my portfolio is 25%. And the same person, then he also has a fund of his own. And he mentions to his client that my fund has been earning 14% return. Now, obviously, I have earned 25%, he's earned 14%. Don't you think the client would be attracted towards me? But what I have done was, I have my return is only last 3 years ka return. Because uske pehle my returns were very bad. So I just averaged last 3 years ka return. And he has averaged last 15 years ka return. Although if you see last 3 years, he performed 35%, I have performed only 25%. So don't you think the client is being cheated in a way? Because I'm manipulating my return. So don't you think there should be standardization in how I should present my investment performance and all? So GIPS is going to deal with that. So GIPS is basically global, everybody all across the globe. Investment performance, how has my investment been? Uska standards. So that is global investment performance standards. So GIPS is something that you will just have an introduction. What is GIPS? You just understand in 3-4 page content. You have a full study session on GIPS in level 3. You have a full study session on GIPS in level 3. So we'll just do a little bit of introduction on GIPS. That's a very small chapter. That covers your first study session. That is ethics. Are we okay till this much? Of course we'll do. I'm just introducing you to the whole content. The second subject is your quants. Now the first question that I have from a lot of people is, मेरे को maths से डर लगता है. I'm scared of maths. I don't know maths. I don't like maths. I did not have maths in 11 and 12. And we've got people already grinning. So we have a good chunk over here. It doesn't matter. Now when you look at, say for example, someone who's doing a chartered accountancy or someone who's doing a BCom and strong in accounts, he will find this subject easier because this is not making accounts, I'll explain, but he'll find this subject easier. Now CFA is a finance course, it's not a commerce course. So a lot of non-finance engineers, non-commerce people, engineers and all people, they enter into CFA because ultimately you see most of the engineers are getting into MBA finance and all. So eventually they need to have a good finance backing. So a lot of engineers I see nowadays, in order to enhance their MBA profiles or whatever, in order to get into the finance domain, shift into the financial area, they start off with their CFA in the 3rd year or the 4th year of their college. So for those people, quants will be an advantage and FRA will be a disadvantage. For the commerce people who do not like maths or who did not have maths, they will have quants as a disadvantage and FRA as an advantage. Disadvantage means engineer will take 20 years, you will take 30 years. And similarly, you will take 20 years over here, engineer will take 30 years. Thoda extra effort dalna hoga, that's all. You need to put in a little extra effort, that's all. So if you do not have a maths, you can still do CFA, there is no problem because we start from scratch. And when we are looking at maths, we are not looking at those weird equations and trigonometry and calculus and all of that. We are looking at what your quants is going to cover. So ethics was your mainly 7 standards and Gibbs. And there is a new chapter, a small new chapter that has been added. We'll discuss it when we start ethics. Quants has got 2 study sessions. The first study session is basically into statistics, probability and annuity. Now obviously you're studying finance, so you need to understand everything with respect to number crunching. I'll give you an example. If I give you $100 today, or if you, and now we need to study with millions and billions, we don't do lakhs and crores. So 3 zeros के बाद एक comma आएगा. We'll work with English names, no Ram and Shyam now. So थोड़ा सा used to होने में you'll take a little time maybe. So it's okay. We'll work with dollars and different currencies, yen and all. We'll now work with millions. We don't say lakhs and crores. We are going to be working with thousands and millions, right? Anyways, $100 today, and if I give you 2 options, I'll give you $100 today or I'll give you $100 after 5 years. Which option will you choose? $100 today, because if I get $100 today, I can invest it in the bank for the next 5 years and I'll get $100 plus interest. So can I compare $100 today with $100 after 5 years? No. You can compare $100 today, उसको फिर लेके जाना होगा with the interest, what is the amount after 5 years. You can compare that amount with $100 at time 5. Suppose I'll give you another example. I will give you $100 today or I'll give you $120 after 5 years. Which option is better? You cannot compare. You cannot compare 10 feet is bigger or 5 meters is bigger. You cannot compare that until unless you compare a feet into meter or a meter into feet. You can compare 2 things which are in the same measure, right? Similarly, you can only compare money if they are at the same time period. $100 today is not equal to $100 after 5 years. Suppose the interest rate is 7%. 100 will become 100 plus 7% over here into 1.07. That 107 will become 107 into 1.07 over here. Ultimately at year 5, $100 into 1.07 to the power 5, 1.07 times, uska 1.07 times, compound interest, 1 plus r into r to the power n, principal into 1 plus r to the power n. Now this amount you can compare with 120, and whichever is bigger, you'll go with that. So annuity, obviously, since we are dealing with finance, we'll be dealing with numbers, with money, monetary terms. So of course we need to have a thorough understanding of calculations of, you know, money, aaj ka money baad ka money pehle. So we'll have to do those calculations. So annuity will take care of that. Say for example, we are working with EMIs. So I want to take a loan of 5 lakh rupees. I want to pay that loan in next 20 years. What is the amount I need to pay on a per month basis? So that will be the EMI, the calculations and all. We'll start with that to next class. We start with quants next class. Right. So that is your quant section, the first study session of quants. Probability is very important. Now try to understand, we are going to be learning a little bit of application of these things in the financial area. Now say for example, I want to forecast that, okay, next year, how is this company, let's say Tata Global going to perform? Tata Global is into what? Tata Global Beverages. Owns which brand? Starbucks. Jubilant FoodWorks owns Domino's. So we'll have a lot of discussions. We'll have to be updated. Now you guys need to start reading immediately. It's very important. You need to start reading. I'll tell you how to go about it. Finimize karke ek email ID subscribe kari. You'll get 2 stories to your mail. It's a very simple one. You download News and Shorts. Start reading the news on a daily basis. It takes you 2 minutes to go through the headlines. Once you're okay with News and Shorts, that's 2-3 minutes on your phone. Then you move to reading 1 business page of Times of India or Telegraph, whichever you subscribe to. Just 1 page of business. I'm not asking you to read Economic Times. I'm not asking you to read Business Standard. Just 1 page, that business page, and a little bit of politics. You need to start reading. It's very important. I'll tell you, I'll give you a couple of stocks ka naam and we'll discuss thoda bahut. Demonetization is there, the news is there, what RBI is up to. You need to understand these things. It's very important. Might not be relevant for your curriculum, but I'll give these examples so that you're updated with the regular, what's happening in the environment. It's very important, politics and economics ke bare mein janna. Varna degree kaam nahi aayega. If you can't apply your degree, it's not going to work in your favor. When you go for a job interview, they know that you know all this because CFA Institute has cleared you through 3 exams. What they're going to be testing you is on a GDPI. They'll be testing you on your knowledge. How do you apply? How do you think? Can you talk? Those things. So it's going to be very important. Right? Anyways, So this is the first study session where we'll talk about statistics and probability. A lot of forecasting is required. Say for example, how will Tata Global perform in the next year? I think 20% chance है market ऐसा होगा, 30% chance है market is going to be poor, 40% chance है market is going to be above average, 10% chance है market is going to be below average. So I'll have a lot of probabilities. 10% है ऐसा होगा, 20% है ऐसा होगा. उन सब के basis पर we'll try to calculate what are my expectations based on those probabilities and all. Probability is going to be very important when you are forecasting, when you are looking at forecasting things. So we'll have to study a little bit of probability. Now you people must have done those weird formulas, those PA divided by PB, those Bayes formula and all, Bayes theorem 11 and 12. You will not have to learn, even I don't know the Bayes theorem ka formula. But we'll have the Bayes theorem ka sum, which we can do without the formula. I can show you, I can derive the formula for Bayes theorem for you, but I cannot mug up the Bayes theorem formula. And that is what you will be able to do. So we need to have our concepts very clear. You'll take hardly 1 minute to solve a Bayes theory question, Bayes formula question, without even knowing the Bayes formula. So that is how. So do not be scared of the maths part. Probability, I'll give you maximum 3-4 formulas. And you know the two formulas will be summation of all the probabilities is equal to 1. Probability lies between 0 to 1. And that formula PA plus PB minus PA intersection B. That was your PA union B. For those who know a little bit of probability. And PA into PB is your that independent events के लिए joint probabilities PA into PB. That's all. No more formula. ये खाली इतना 4 formula. This is not even a formula. Yeah, sigma P is equal to 1 and probability lies between 0 and 1. So basically with 2 formulas, we'll do the whole of probability. Joint, conditional, unconditional, Bayes theorem, सब चीज हो जाएगा. And you will not even learn a single formula. Trust me. ठीक है? So probability basics are going to be there. In the next one, we will have distributions, statistics, and hypothesis. And there is a technical analysis chapter. This is separate from the rest of quants. Actually, this whole quants is actually in a series. Statistics is going to be very important, mean, median, mode. Try to understand. I want to understand India's economy, how India is going to perform, how India's GDP is looking like. I want to understand these kind of things, these kind of variables. When I'm looking at understanding about India's GDP or something, I cannot study all the companies that's there in India. What I'll do is, I'll pick up like, okay, I'll take the 5 large banks, I'll take 10 large FMCG companies. I guess Patanjali will be taken in that case now. I'll take another 5 automobile companies. So I'll take a lot of different industries ka companies. I'll create a sample. I'll study, let's say, those 50, 100 companies, and based on those 100 companies, I can pass a judgment about the whole of the economy, about the Indian economy. If these 100 companies are performing this way, if these 100 companies are having a growth rate of 7%, India ka growth rate will also be somewhere around 7%. Can I say so? This is sample population. You're studying a small sample and you're trying to make a judgment about the whole population in India, about the thousands and lakhs of companies in India. Bolo, you're following? So those kind of things we'll need to do. Sampling, population, so a little bit of statistics and all will be there. Distributions we'll have to form. So distributions I cannot explain in such a short time. So you'll have a little bit of distributions and all calculated. Suppose I will say, like say for example, this is 95% area. I find out my average return of the stock is 10%. Doing some calculations, you will be able to figure out this will be equal to 15 and suppose this is equal to 5%. Okay. Now you can say I am 95% confident or there is 95% probability that my return is going to be within the range 5 and 15. Don't you think it's giving you a lot of financial analysis that okay 90% chance है आप लोग बोलते हैं ना एग्जाम के बाद में 90% चांस है पास हो जाएंगे 90% आई एम श्योर कि 70 के ऊपर आएगा तो कंपनीज का भी तो रिजल्ट्स के बारे में we need to make these kind of assessments that there is a 80% chance that you know your return is going to be between this level. There is only a 5% chance that your loss will be more than this level. So those kind of analysis, those kind of statistical deductions we'll need to make over here. It's not that complicated as it sounds. Once we start now, it's pretty easy. It's pretty easy. Bolo, everybody's okay till here? So this is what we do. Hypothesis is a little complicated, but questions generally turn out to be a little on the easier side. And if your understanding is thorough, trust me, hypothesis is gonna be very easy for you. That is my job, to make it easy. Technical analysis is a little irritating. I personally find it a little irritating. CFA is a course which is focused on the fundamental side. Now, when you're analyzing stocks, Say for example, I want to buy or sell a stock. There are two ways generally in which you can make a decision, technically three. One is a fundamental analysis, like say for example I want to evaluate, let's say Patanjali evaluate करना है, तो Patanjali evaluate करने का there are two ways I can evaluate that company. One way is, okay, India ka demographics is like this, we've got a huge population, a good chunk of population is below the poverty line or around this income level. Okay, a good chunk is in the rural area wherein Ramdev Baba has got a very good reach and influence over there. The branding and the marketing helps in the rural sector, and the growth rate of population is itna. These are the people who are using this dishwasher and all these things. These kind of products are there, and marketing strategies aisa. Unka production, unka cost is low. Therefore, the customer is going to be happy with the products because the cost is cheaper. So on the basis of all the fundamentals of the company, how the economy is performing, how the industry is performing, how is the company looking like, you can decide whether the company is a good to buy or not a good company to buy for you. So that you can take a call on that. The second tariqa, the second way would be, I will be looking at those charts and patterns. Okay, price aise hai, price aise hai. Now, ye trend dekh karke, can I not say that the prices should be going up based on the price patterns in the past? Upar niche, upar niche, upar niche, and then it's gonna go up. So looking at the past prices, charts, patterns and all, that is what technical analysis is. Looking at charts and all. Of course, we'll be doing much more into that, but it's a one chapter over here and a little bit of technical in level 2. There'll be one small chapter, 3-4 page chapter in level 2 that you'll be doing, which is related to technical, not technical exactly, but related to technical. But the whole of the CFA content is on the fundamental side. We are on the fundamental side, and I'm a very fundamental. So when you look at traders in the market, I'm not a trader, I'm not at all a trader, I'm an investor. So when you look at these traders and investors, those people who follow these markets and all in general, sorry, when you look at these people following the markets and all in general, some people are more on the technical side, some people are more on the fundamental side, I'm more on the fundamental side. And technicals is for day trading. So if you want to, keep on buy sell throughout the day, so that is more into the technical analysis side of it. Right, so that is only one chapter over here. Very simple, small chapter that covers your quants area. Economics has got 3 study sessions. One is micro, one is macro, and the other one is kind of international trade and forex. Each study session has about 2-3 chapters. There are 3 chapters, 2 chapters, and micro has gone into under a lot of change. So they've changed the syllabus for the first study session, microeconomics. They've just jumbled up, reshuffled and all. Content-wise, बहुत ज़्यादा कुछ change नहीं हुआ है. The micro in the first study session, you'll be studying your 11-12 or your BCom economics. So basically demand, supply, how the markets are, cost of production, your average total cost, and the long run average curve and all those. So basic microeconomics. For those who understand the basics of economics, the demand and supply in that section, the microeconomics section is going to be covered in the first study session. The second study session, and there's monopoly, oligopoly, the market structures and all that microeconomics we cover in the first study session. In the second study session, we'll be looking at macroeconomics. So you'll have a brief idea about what is GDP, what is per capita GDP, those export minus import, those functions, those money supply and all that. Second chapter, you'll be studying about the monetary policy and the fiscal policy, the business, that's the third chapter, sorry. The second one is about the business cycle, recession, peak, growth. So the whole economy as a whole, business cycles, inflation, all of those things on a very macroeconomic level. And the third chapter, we'll be discussing the monetary policy, what the RBI or the central bank does. India, the central bank is RBI, and US, the central bank is Federal Bank. So what are the federal banker strategies and all in order to, regulate monetary supply, control inflation, change interest rate, promote growth, reduce unemployment. So those things we'll be studying in the macro section. GDP you'll not be doing in that much detail that, you had in 11-12, those calculations and all. So it's going to be basic terms and all. This second study session, most of the people find it a little annoying, to be very honest, because it's a little theoretical side pen, you've already studied it a couple of times. So it becomes a little irritating to study. There are people, anybody from economics honors over here. So there are people from economics honors, do not be overconfident about the economic section, because you'll have to study. Whatever it is, you'll have to study. Yeah, you'll find it easier. So this is an advantage area for you. right? But then make sure you guys are studying. Don't be overconfident कि मेरे को 11 12 में आता है. You'll have to go through your curriculum. The third chapter, the first half is talking about the simple thing that those absolute advantage, comparative advantage. England is going to sell cloth and Portugal is going to sell wine. Guns and butter and all those examples you had, na, that the country who's mastering or who's more cost effective or effective in producing a commodity, they should be producing those commodity only. So that part we'll be doing. The balance of payment, current account deficit. So that is your international trade area. And the last chapter is one of the most interesting areas of your economics part, that is going to be dealing with the foreign exchange, the rupee dollar exchange rate and certain calculations with respect to that. That's very interesting, the last chapter. Last study session is actually more interesting than the first two. Are we good till here, everybody? So that's your economic section. When we get into FRA, FRA has got 4 study sessions. The first study session is very basic and theoretical, Last is like a summary. So these 2 study sessions are going to be very easy. This one and this one in particular is very important. I don't have space, I'll just call it out. The first study session basically, FRA is financial reporting analysis. Financial reporting analysis, you do not need to be an accountant. Even if you are an engineer, you can manage this very easily. You'll have to put in a little extra work. The first study session is talking about what is US GAAP, what is IFRS. Now in India, we've got the CA Institute, which gives us the accounting standards. In United States, we've got the FASB, which gives the US GAAP. And there is an international body now, because so much of globalization, everybody is investing in another country, everybody is selling products to another country and all. So much of globalization is there, because of which we need kind of a, a standard, kind of an international standard. That's what we are doing now. So IFRS is provided by the IASB. So we'll discuss those things. So what is FASB, what is IASB, what are the different financial reports? You've got a PL account, you've got a balance sheet, you've got a cash flow statement. What are the different types of accounts? What is journal? What is ledger? What is trial balance? You don't need to pass any journal entry. But what is a journal? What is a ledger? You need to know those basic terms, right? What is audit? What is internal audit? What are the different 4 opinions in an audit? Adverse opinion, disclaimer of opinion and all. So just the terms, just the very basic terms with respect to an annual report will be covered in the first study session. Very theoretical. What is relevance, comparability, those, those basic going concern principle, materiality principle. So just trying to introduce to the non-accounts, or it's a finance course, it's not a commerce course, right? So it needs to introduce you to the different aspects of accounting. It's not accounting. We are not going to make any journal, no ledger, no trial balance, nothing. We're not even making a PL account or a balance sheet. We are not making any cash flow statement. We're not doing all that. Okay. First one is introducing to that. The second study session has got 4 chapters: PL account, balance sheet, cash flow statement, and ratio analysis. Ratio analysis is very important. Now what we are going to do is, suppose I'm a financial analyst. I'm an equity analyst. If I want to decide which company to invest in, don't you think I need to analyze uska balance sheet, uska PL account, uska reports? Financial reporting analysis is not it's not financial reporting, it's analysis of the financial reports. So we need to understand how to read a balance sheet, how to read a PL account, how to understand the financial reports. That is what our job is in case of FRA. We are not supposed to be making accounts. We don't have to study accounts. We need to be able to understand accounts. I'm comparing 2 companies, company A, company B. Company A follows the straight line method of depreciation. 1 lakh asset, 10,000, 10,000, 10,000, bindas depreciation karega. The second company is following a WDV method. Suppose it's depreciating 15%. So 1 lakh becomes 85,000. 85,000 ka 15% minus karke, it will become the another level. Both the companies are identical in all respects. Don't you think dono ka PL account and all will be differing because of the depreciation amount you followed? So when I'm analyzing 2 companies, one company follows a straight line, one company follows another method. Don't you think I need to make their accounts comparable? Don't you think I need to dig deeper? I need to dig deeper in order to understand who's following what kind of policy, what kind of method, and accordingly I need to decide on how to prepare the statements and all. If I'm comparing 2 companies, you cannot have a comparison between oranges and apples. You need to make it on a level playing ground. For those who've done FIFO, LIFO in 11, 12 or BCom, one company follows FIFO method, one company follows LIFO method for inventory. You cannot compare the balance sheets of 2 companies. Because in an inflationary environment, they'll give two different results. LIFO will give very bad profits, FIFO will give very good profits. But if everything is the same, I cannot say just because you're passing the entry in a certain manner, just because you're accounting in a certain manner, does not change the value of the company, right? So as an analyst, you need to know how the companies have prepared their financial statements in order to compare the two. So we need to understand, okay, US GAAP follow kiya, then this is the output. IFRS tells you to follow this way. I'll give you another example. I'm a real estate guy. I'm making a building. 5 floors ka building I'm making. Now the building will be completed in 4 years time. Suppose 1000 ka building ka price hai. 1000 is the selling price, 800 is the cost price of the building. 200 is the profit. And I take 5 years to make the building. Either I can recognize profit 200 divided by 5, 40, 40, 40 in 5 years, or I can recognize pura ka pura 200 in the 5th year. Don't you think दोनों केस में बहुत difference होगा PL account में balance sheet में? So those analysis is required, and ratio analysis becomes very important over there. Now, for example, ratios, you've studied that, profitability ratio should be higher the better. Debt equity ratio, lower the better. For those who've done a little bit of ratio. If you've not understood, if you've not done this in 11 and 12, it's okay, we'll do it. Right? But just think, high profitability does not mean the company is good. Suppose, FMCG company, on an average, the companies are making a profit of 15%. Suddenly I see this FMCG company went to take a loan from the bank, and अपना annual report में it is showing I am generating 30% return. Bank वाला ये खुश होकर के दे देगा नहीं loan. अच्छा, this is very good company, let me give you a loan. No, the guy might be manipulating statements. How are you getting 30% when everybody else is earning 15%? What extra do you have? As an analyst, you need to analyze something that could be too good to be true. If a relative, if an auntie is being very friendly and very nice to you at a wedding, she must be talking crap about you behind your back. So if something is too good to be true, dig deeper. You need to analyze कि profit आया तो कहाँ से आया, right? So there's someone who's already pointing fingers. Great. So the point is you need to understand कि अच्छा profit है भी तो अच्छा profit आया कहाँ से? You need to analyze. So higher the better might not be the case. So all the ratios, debtor turnover ratio, creditor turnover ratio. Now I don't remember the debtor turnover ratio formula, but I can tell you debtor turnover ratio का मतलब क्या हुआ. If I have a 10 lakh rupees, suppose 12 lakh rupees sale on a per annum basis, my total sales throughout the year is 12 lakh. On an average, मेरा balance sheet में debtors is 1 lakh. इसका मतलब क्या? I sell सामान, I get 1 lakh rupees. I again sell सामान, I get 1 lakh rupees. This must have happened 12 times in a year क्योंकि मेरा total sales is 12 lakh. So 12 lakh sales divided by 1 lakh average debtor, the 12 times is the debtor turnover. सामान बेचा, debtor बना, turnover, I got the money. Again नया सामान बेचा, नया debtor बना, again I get the money. This has happened 12 times in a year, right? अच्छा 12 times in a year मतलब one time के लिए कितना time लगा? 1 month. So that is your average days receivable. मतलब on an average, a debtor is gonna give you money in a month's time. Now higher the better or lower the better. Ab now you'll say for example, if I'm talking about debtors, if the time is 2 months, 3 months, मतलब मेरा interest cost लगेगा ना. My vasuli is not good. I'm not being able to recover my money on a quick basis. I'm losing out on interest if I'm getting money deri se. Bad idea. So lower the better. That is what you've learned in school or college. But actually, say for example, if I'll say that my debtor gives me money in 10 days, you'll be very happy I'm getting the money quickly. But don't you think if I'm going to be very strict, I'm going to 10 दिन में पैसा निकालो, otherwise I'll take you to the court. Don't you think he's not going to buy stuff from you and he's going to go to your competitor? So if you're too strict, you'll be losing out on sales. So any ratio should be optimal. Higher the better, lower the better is Purana logic, doesn't work. We need to analyze, we need to think, we need to look. So if a profit is good, does not mean the profit would be actually good. We need to look into it. Why is the profit good? Okay, everybody sorted till here. So that is what we do in these 4 chapters: PL account, balance sheet, cash flow statement, and ratio analysis. The third study session is very important, and that is what will take most of the time. Inventory. So we'll do one chapter which is focused totally on the inventory section. The second chapter we'll do on deferred taxes. I'll not discuss taxes. You don't have to do any tax calculation. Actually क्या होता है ना? Now in my balance sheet, my income is something else. But when I go file an income tax return, I will do a provision for bad debt in my balance sheet. Suppose I'm giving a donation to you. I've given a donation to someone. So that donation, I will show it in my accounts. I will deduct it in my accounts. But that same donation, tax guy will not allow me to deduct. So I will have to pay the amount on the pura profit to the tax guy. So the taxation amount based on my PL account and based on the income tax return will be different. So how do you compare those? How do you analyze those? So we don't study any tax laws and all, please. I'm the last person you should come for that. I don't even file my own tax returns. I don't know how to file that. My area is finance. So I'm a chartered accountant, but I don't do taxation work. So that is not my field. You specialize in a field. My field is finance. So I am going to be, but the financial implication of tax, that is what we study. So don't get scared for those who don't like taxation, right? So there's one chapter on inventory, one on taxation, one on long-lived assets. How do you account for goodwill? How do you account for machinery and those fixed asset depreciation and all? How do you account for investments? And there's a fourth chapter on your liabilities. So debentures, bonds, how do you account for that? And leases. So it's a little large topic, leases. I cannot take much time to discuss that. So leases. So how do you account for leases in your balance sheet? Now what happens is now, suppose there is an asset which can be used, jiska useful life is 10 years. I can take the asset on lease for 10 years. I'm giving a bhada, I'm giving a rent for the asset for those 10 years. The second option is I can buy the asset on a loan and pay the EMI for 10 years. Now what people do is, because I don't want to show a loan on my balance sheet, I'll take the asset on rent. But as financial analysts, we should understand that the intention was not to take a loan, but it's as if I've taken a loan and paying the EMI. EMI दोगे या lease rent दोगे, बात एक ही पड़ेगा, amount तो एक ही बराबर आएगा. So don't you think the substance of the transaction is as if you have taken loan? Anyways, don't bother about it. So leases is another section that will be there in the liabilities chapter. So one study session will be PL account, balance sheet, cash flow statement and ratios. And the second study session will have inventory, asset, liability and taxes. So this is what we do in the third study session. Fourth study session is like a summary. You will take hardly 2 hours to do it. Fourth study session is basically summarizing these two. But when just the way I discussed debtor turnover ratio. So when I'll do debtor turnover ratio, I'll discuss the implication. They've discussed the implication separately. So you'll not have to bother much. This is kind of a summary, 2 small chapters summary of the first 2. Like, people manipulate accounts like, say for example, Flipkart wants to show a lot of sale for 2016. What will it do is, March 25th to 31st, they will do a bumper sale. Okay? And 31st March ke baad mein, they will be having a lot of sales returns. Sales hoga March mein this year 2016, 16-17, but the returns will be shown in the next year. Don't you see this manipulation of accounts? So what are the ways in which manipulation can be done and how do you prevent those, or how as an analyst you are going to be detecting those is our job in this summary chapter. But मैं जब आपको PL account में sales recognize करना सिखाऊंगा तभी मैं उसका manipulation and वो भी सिखाऊंगा. So we need to be very analytical. Ratio high है तो क्यों है, low है तो क्यों है, so all that needs to be there. Are we sorted till here, FRA? So if those who don't like accounts, don't bother, we're not creating accounts. Next we come to corporate finance. Now finance is a very huge area actually. So you cannot just say that, I'm working in a finance department. I mean, someone tells me you've got a treasury department, you've got a MIS department, you've got a budgeting department. There are so many departments in finance. When we are talking about finance in general, you can talk about an investment banker, you can talk about an equity analyst guy, you can talk about a private equity person, you can talk about a professor, research in economics, a lot of ways are there. Corporate finance means जब आप एक company के अंदर बैठ करके उसका finance manage करते हैं, that is the corporate finance part. So corporate finance is not, when I'm saying that, okay, this company is good, buy that company, this company is bad, don't buy that company. That is kind of equity analysis. You're trying to value a company. But when I'm looking at corporate finance, I'm sitting inside the company and I'm going to take decisions about the company. Suppose I'm sitting on the board of, let's say, a Jubilant Foodwork. And we are discussing an idea ki let's say we will start a Chinese product store. Let's create another brand. Right now Jubilant has got Domino's and it has got the Dunkin' Donuts. Let me start another Chinese outlet. So should I invest in this project, not invest in this project? That is a financial decision which will be made by the finance department, company ke andar ka corporate finance, corporate ka finance, company ka finance. Are we okay? So what are the kind of things we'll do over here is, in corporate finance, we'll study things like capital budgeting. Should I invest in this project, not invest in this project? Cost of capital. I need money. Should I raise money through equity, through debenture, through preference shares? So how should I raise money? What is the cost of capital? Very interesting stuff. Dividend. Should I distribute dividend? Should I not distribute dividend? How is the dividend going to impact? That is your decision. That is the company's decision. Should I take a lot of investment in fixed asset, or should I make it more labor intensive? Should I take a lot of loan, not take a lot of loan? That is leverage. And corporate governance. This chapter has been changed. In 2017, corporate governance mein, they have added that environment and social thing over here, ESG. So this chapter has got a little bit of changes done compared to 2016 to 2017 curriculum. Quite a lot of chapters have got a lot of new questions and all. So in the institute material, you'll find new kind of questions and new type of questions. So that we'll see. But majorly, if you see economics first study session, there is a change in this chapter, shuffled up, and 2-3 chapters have been combined into one. Corporate finance, corporate governance, they've added the ESG wala part. That is a little change over here. And there is another chapter that has been added to ethics. For those who've got the old books or they want to understand the changes from 16 to 17, that's why I'm just marking the changes for you. There's one new chapter over here. There's a little bit of shuffling over here. There is a little bit of change in this chapter, and I think that is more or less about it. Fixed income, maybe halka sa kuch change hai. Questions and all that. Baki it's all same. Anyways, are we okay till here? Then we go on to portfolio. Very interesting part, very interesting study. You've got about 4 chapters over here. 5 chapters actually. There has been a new chapter that has been added from the last term. It was there in 2016 also. So in general, what is a portfolio? Now when I'm talking about my assets, I will talk about, let's say I've got some equity shares, I've got some bonds, I've got some gold and silver in currency, I've got some cash, I've got some, so when you look at everything in totality, like equity is giving me 15% return, mutual fund gives me 12% return, fixed income, your debentures is giving me 8% return. But when I want to look at it in totality, what is the whole portfolio ka return? What is the whole portfolio ka risk? So risk, return and all that, when you want to study about the portfolio as a whole in totality in general, then what are the measures you'll be looking at? That is your, that is your portfolio section. I'll give you a small example. Say for example, I'm investing in 2 stocks, stock A and stock B. Agar suppose stock A and stock B is related, कि stock A बढ़ेगा तभी B भी बढ़ेगा, अगर A गिरेगा तो B भी गिरेगा. So either both the stock is gonna go up or both the stock is gonna go down. Don't you think my portfolio is going to be very volatile? मतलब either इतना ऊपर या इतना नीचे. And suppose I'm investing in 2 different stocks. I'm investing in one stock कि एक ऊपर जाता है तो दूसरा नीचे आता है. And अगर ये ऊपर जाएगा तो ये नीचे आएगा. So if 2 stocks move in opposite directions, हो सकता है ना? So in that case सोचो, my portfolio का return will be kind of very averaged out, क्योंकि एक बढ़ा एक गिरा दोनों को संभाल ले रहा है. तो my portfolio return will be in a very narrow range. Risk कम होगा ना उसका, because the movement will be very less. इसका मतलब covariance, correlation is going to be very important. Covariance tells you whether 2 variables move in the same direction or in the opposite direction. Statistics will cover covariance. That will be used in portfolio over here. It's not complicated, trust me. We'll start off with it. It'll seem very easy. That's my job, right? So covariance, correlation. So portfolio, all I'm trying to understand. That is why people tell you don't put all your eggs in the same basket. Do not put all your money in the same sector. You should have different sources of revenue. कि एक जगह से खराब हुआ तो दूसरा जगह manage कर देगा उसको. So if someone is into the business of stock broking, he should never have his investment in stocks, because business जाएगा तो साथ में investment भी जाएगा. So you need diversification. थोड़ा pharma में डालो, थोड़ा automobile में डालो, put a little in metal, put a little in banking. So you should have a little bit of diversification done. So those kind of things we'll study in portfolio. A couple of theory chapters are also there. One chapter is very interesting that talks about your RRTT LLU. So basically, if you're an individual, you want to make a portfolio of your own. Say for example, I want to make a portfolio for myself. So when I'm making a portfolio, what are the things I need to keep in mind? Okay, I'm planning to buy a new house in the 5 years time period. So 5 years baad I need this much money. After 10 years, I'm planning to do to have a world tour for 20 days. So I need this much money. After 30 years, I need to buy this. Okay. And in the meantime, my parents are pretty old. So I need to maintain a 1 lakh rupees cash reserve all the time, very liquid reserve, because I can need it at any point of time. And I can invest, I don't need money in the next 10 years, 15 years. So I can invest in illiquid securities. I don't need money na कि आज खरीदा कल बेचा. So I have a long-term horizon. So what is the time horizon? What is your liquidity requirement? Now I can have certain unique constraints. Like I don't like, I'm a very animal friendly person and a PETA kind of a guy. So any company that deals in leather products or any animal related products, you are not allowed to invest. So basically you need to tell your portfolio manager, you know, this is my time horizon, these are my requirements, this is what I dislike, this much risk I can take, this much risk I cannot take. So you need to give all the information to your manager, and accordingly he'll create your portfolio. What is your return and risk requirement, RR? What is your tax and time horizon requirement, TT? Now say for example I am in the maximum tax bracket, so I will not invest in interest rate securities. I would rather want a security which is going to be like, you know, 1 year ke baad mein tax free. And if someone is not in the income tax bracket, I will invest in government bond which is tax free. And say for example if my income is very low, I'm not falling in the income tax bracket, then I should invest in those bonds which are taxable, क्योंकि मेरे को तो ऐसे भी tax नहीं देना है. So why should I go for a low interest rate का tax free bond? So वो सारा चीज के हिसाब से you are supposed to be creating a portfolio for someone. And actual ऐसा portfolio बनाना you will learn in level 3. You will make those kind of portfolios in level 3 exams. Very interesting part. Right? So this is what you do in portfolio. Over here you'll just have a very 4-page simple chapter on that. But there'll be that risk and return while I talk to you about now, that is going to be the major content in your portfolio section. Okay? Equity, we have 2 study sessions. 2 chapters are Bekar theory, what is equity, what is preference, all the terms, and you know, book building and shelf registration and all that theory stuff is there. So basically the terms and all you'll study. But in general, equity valuation कैसे करते हैं? You analyze the economy, you analyze the industry का sector, industry growth stage पे है कि decline stage पे है. So we need to look at a lot of factors when you're trying to value a company. So how do you do that? The last chapter of equity is super interesting. That is, you know, say for example, I'm a retail investor. तो retail investor company को कैसे value करेगा? जो उसको future में dividends मिलेगा, उसका आज का present value of the future dividend should be the value of a company. To me, suppose I am investing in a company. For me, the value of the company will be nothing but dividends ka value today. But for a person who's buying a 30-40% stake in the company, he's not bothered about dividend. He's buying the company to buy a controlling stake in the company. So he will try to analyze ki, okay, what kind of a cash flow is the company generating? Uske hisab se what is the value of the company? So there are different ways how to value a company, how to value an equity share of the company. That is what we'll do in equity. How do you make an index? Sensex, Nifty, you've got these indices. इनका calculation कैसे होता है? There are 3-4 ways of calculations and उसका advantage disadvantage. It's easy, it's not complicated. Don't I'm seeing some people are like, you know, इतना कैसे करेंगे? Right? ऐसा नहीं है. Don't worry. It's not going to be that complicated. It's very easy. Everybody is doing it. So equity में that part is there. Now what kind of markets are there? कुछ markets में technical analysis works, कुछ market में fundamental analysis works. So we'll have a little theory on that. So we'll study all those things. Or we'll study something like even a Michael Porter's analysis. Say for example, I want to evaluate an industry. There is something called a mode theory out of syllabus. There is something called a mode theory. Mode theory क्या होता है? You've seen those movies, Prince Caspian, Narnia and all those movies and all. So when you see those movies, you've got that palace in between and there is a drain, there is a big drain behind, you know, all around the palace. That is for protection. Then a chain se wo niklega, Bahubali will enter and all that. So that kind of stuff we have. Anyways, I mean, Bahubali is going to be out in April. Finally, we'll know what Katappa, why did Katappa kill Bahubali. So, that's one of the biggest mysteries that's going to be solved in 2017. Anyways, the point is that gate comes across and people can enter. Business का भी एक, that is known as a moat. Business का भी एक moat theory होता है. Now, if I am starting a business today, what is the guarantee कि कल कोई दूसरा चालू नहीं करेगा? या what is that extra in your business that anybody will not be able to replicate and you'll be able to earn that profit? So there's a moat theory. So when you're looking at an industry, now say for example, I'll talk about an industry. I'll take an example. Let's say, कुछ example लिखने का रहा है. Let's say we'll talk about a Samsung or an iPhone. So iPhone ka the biggest thing is there is no what do you call it? There is nothing that can prevent competitors from entering the market. You've got an Oppo, you've got a OnePlus, you've got a I don't know what good number of brands are there in the cell phone market. They have grabbed away the cell phone share from Samsung. Earlier there was low competition when Nokia and Samsung were there. कंपटीशन कम होगा तो प्रॉफिट ज्यादा होगा ना, बिकॉज पीपल विल नॉट हैव टू रिड्यूस प्राइसेस. टुडे OnePlus comes with a phone, वो प्राइस कम करेगा, the other person has to reduce the prices. Now Samsung and HTC cannot sell a phone with that kind of specification at a 40,000 because OnePlus is doing it at 25, 27. So where would you want to invest? A company, एक इंडस्ट्री जहां बहुत कंपटीशन है, जहां बहुत कम कंपटीशन है. जहां कम कंपटीशन है, because there the person will be able to charge high prices and more profits, right? So we need to study the industry when we are trying to value a company. So equity will also have to have a lot of industry analysis. Right? Fixed income has got 2 study sessions. People find fixed income one of the most difficult topics of the whole CFA curriculum, but we'll try to make that work. Fixed income basically debentures वगैरह का valuation, so fixed income securities. So basically investor has got 3 ways in which he can invest. Either he can invest in shares, equity shares, or he can invest in fixed income securities, that is bonds of companies and all. So bond valuation, all the fixed income related interest rate and bond calculation will come over here, or all the other alternate forms of investments are going to be in the 3rd section. That's your alternate forms of investments, right? That is your alternate forms of investments, right? So alternate forms of investments is going to be commodity, private equity, real estate, hedge funds, paintings, archaeological artifacts, everything, Tipu Sultan ka sword, everything is going to be in alternate investments. For those who are not understanding the jokes, please start reading newspapers. It will be very difficult to crack something up, yeah. Okay, I'll give you a better one. Dhoom 3 mein jo sikka wo Hrithik Roshan was stealing. I have not seen the 3rd one, so I can't even comment. I've just seen the songs of the 3rd one. So that is alternate investments for you, right? So that comes under alternate investments. So वो सारा चीज हम लोग यहाँ पढ़ेंगे. It's a very small content. It's a very easy small content. Alternate investments, right? So equity में invest करेंगे या फिर fixed income securities में invest करेंगे, or all the alternate forms of investments will go over here, right? Last एक derivatives बच गया है. Derivatives explain करना is very difficult. It's a short content. I don't like the content they've revised. I will give you totally मेरा notes यहाँ पर for the 2nd and the 3rd chapter. There are 3 chapters. First chapter you'll be able to do it from the book, but 2nd and 3rd you'll have to do. Like ethics, I'll give you that sheet. I'll give you a pura checklist of what are the things you are supposed to be receiving. I'll discuss all those things. So derivatives में you'll do it from my notes. You'll not be able to do it from Schweizer also. So derivatives is basically क्या होता है? Suppose say for example I enter into a bet with her. कि I'm saying India जीतेगा cricket match and she's a supporter of let's say Australia. ठीक है? So in that case, if India wins, I get the money. If Australia wins, she gets the money. Now say for example, I have done a lot of analysis and I think there's this company called Eicher Motor. I think that company is gonna go up. उसका प्राइस बढ़ेगा. अब वो कंपनी का शेयर प्राइस 20,000 का है. 20,000 का एक शेयर है. मेरे पास पैसा ऐसा नहीं है. There's no money over here. So what do I do now? What I do is I enter into a bet with her. Eicher Motor बढ़ेगा तो you give me money. Eicher Motor गिरेगा तो I'll give you money. ठीक है? This is a bet we both enter into. सोचो अगर मैं शेयर्स खरीदा Eicher Motor का 20,000 का, वो 24,000 होता, I would have received 4,000 का प्रॉफिट. वो 16,000 होता, मेरा 4,000 का नुकसान होता. करेक्ट? When I'm getting into a contract with her, I've gotten into a contract कि Eicher Motor 20,000 का है ना, तो उसका ऊपर का डिफरेंस होगा you pay me, अगर नीचे का होगा तो I'll pay you. Do you see, without investing 20,000, I have gotten the same exposure in the Eicher Motor share? Derivative. So basically the contract, it's a financial contract between the two of us, and कौन किसको कितना पैसा देगा depends on Eicher Motor, जिसका ना she owns the shares, neither I own the share. But who's going to give whom what amount of money is going to be based on Eicher Motor? Who's going to give whom how much amount of money is based on the Indian cricket match ka outcome? I don't have any IPL ka stake, she doesn't have any IPL ka stake, but we can bet na. So derivative is, you know, those kind of financial contracts that we can create for various risk management, a lot of reasons that we'll cover in derivatives. I cannot teach you more on that right now. Small content in L1, L2 में थोड़ा बढ़ जाएगा. So this is basically all about your syllabus that you'll be covering in level 1. Level 2 is going to focus on equity, 25% weightage approximately, and level 3, 50 to 55% weightage will be portfolio. Level 1 and 2, same subjects. Your concept has to be very, very accurate, very, very thorough. Your fundamentals should be very good. If you have any problem, you'll get back to me. नहीं होना चाहिए वैसे. And जो भी problem होगा, I'll take care of it. That is my problem. But you have to make sure that your understanding is very good. Your understanding is very good. With respect to the exams, now I'll just cover one topic at a time. Pattern you understand, 120 MCQs, subject wise MCQs divided है, jumbled up नहीं होगा, no negative marking, 3 MCQs, 3 options each. Level 1, now the difficult area I'll tell you first. Ethics में there is ambiguity, there is subjectivity, practice बहुत चाहिए, so therefore that is a difficult part, you need to pass ethics. दूसरा चीज क्या है, institute does not tell you that you need to get 40% in every subject and average में 50% and I'll pass you. Institute does not tell you how you're going to pass. From my experience and from what I understand is that on an average, अगर, because I've seen a lot of students का results and all किस तरीके से लोग का होता है. So now say for example, your result is going to be in the format, you'll not be given your scores. For all the 10 subjects, you will be given whether this subject is below 50%, between 50 to 70% or above 70%. आपका exam result कैसा होगा ना? Below 50, 50 to 70 and 70 above and एक star बना हुआ रहेगा. Whichever subject is falling in whichever category, उसके हिसाब से. Right? So on an average, देखिए India exams के हिसाब से क्या होता है? You're not supposed to be failing in any of the exam. On an average, you need to do good. Your basic pass percentage across the globe is around 40%. 40% is the basic pass rate. 35 to 43 के बीच में. So let's say 35, conservative पकड़ के चलते हैं. So I need to be in the top 35% performance. That is one obvious. Second, on an average, you need to do decently well in all the subjects. Or on an average, now you can be below 50. Now suppose FRA has got 24 questions. 24, 48. 24 questions भी wrong कर दोगे तो भी you'll reach the below 50 का level. So FRMA, since the number of questions is large, you can make a couple of extra errors. Alternate investment has got 4 questions. 2 गलती करेंगे you're below 50. 3 गलती करेंगे you're out. That's what I understand. I'm not saying that is what the institute tells me. But my idea is that every subject you need to have a decent score and on an average 35%. Thumb rule जो लोग बोलते हैं कि 70%, 80%, 70% questions correct कर लो, you'll be through. But एक subject को खराब कर दिए ना, you'll not be through. You can have like, you can have like 6 subjects में A and 4 subjects में C and you can pass, and it is possible कि 9 में A है, that is 70 plus, and 8 में 50 below and you will fail. The C might be exactly at 50% का border पे ना. That is why when I talk about it, I say alternate investment is a very important part and ethics, because alternate में number of mistakes you can make is very less. So when I teach alternate investment, I teach you every single line from Schweizer. एक line पढ़ के समझाऊंगा. Because alternate investments, I can't afford you to make any mistake. You're getting it? Why I'm saying alternate investments is important. Alternate investment, derivative and portfolio का number of questions are less. So we'll practice a little extra. Alternate पूरा practice करोगे. Ethics practice is very, very, very important. And fixed income, because it's difficult, it's important. I'll tell you exactly how to practice and all. वो classes के बीच में I'll tell you कि practice किस तरीके से करना है, revise किस तरीके से करना है. I'll keep on telling you that. So let's just start off. Practice के लिए now what you'll need is you'll need a book and your calculator. You'll need to order Schweizer books. I do not provide Schweizer books. You'll need to buy it yourself. I can connect you to the bookseller. He'll home deliver the books to you and he'll charge 1,000 or something, whatever. So he'll home deliver the books and you can order the books from him. Schweizer books में you'll get 5 subject books and you will get 2 practice books. Total 7 books आएगा आपके पास. ठीक है? 5 practice books and 5 textbooks and 2 practice books. For the institute material, you can go for the e-books because we'll be doing from this Schweizer, and the calculator you'll have to purchase. There are 2 kinds of calculator which we can have. Institute allows you only 2 calculators. Institute allows you only 2 calculators. One is an HP and one is a Texas. HP generally nobody uses. We'll be working with Texas. You're supposed to be buying your Texas calculators. There are 2 versions to Texas calculators. Texas Instrument BA2 Plus, and there is a BA2 Plus, the same thing, professional, BA2 Plus professional. This is going to be approximately 2,500 rupees and this one is going to be approximately 3,800 rupees. This is a plastic body calculator, this is a metal body calculator. The buttons are exactly the same. In this calculator, you have a couple of functions extra. But trust me, it takes you hardly 10 seconds to, do those calculations on this calculator also. So when you ask me functionality ke hisab se, there is a couple of extra over here, but it does not make sense to spend another 1,000 over here. So it's your call. Most of my students, 90%, 95% crowd will be using this only. Plastic body, metal body, makes no sense to be very honest. There's a plastic body, there's a metal body. So it's up to you. You can order it online, or you can again ask the bookseller, he'll sell you the calculator as well. Or you can check online wherever you find it a reasonable rate. So that's about your calculator. You're supposed to be buying the Schweizer books by yourself. I do not provide it. You're supposed to be buying your calculator by yourself. These two things you will need. Uske alawa, whatever is required is all my responsibility. You're supposed to be attending the classes, or for video students, you're supposed to be watching the classes. Extra notes, whatever is given, either I'll make you write or I'll give you handouts. Like ethics, you'll get that summary handout. Derivatives, you'll get a handout over there. Then quants में एक मिलेगा, economics में एक मिलेगा, FRA में you'll get a list of differences between IFRS, US GAAP. I'll give you a checklist of all the handouts. That these are the handouts you're supposed to be getting, so that you do not, get confused कि क्या मिला है, क्या नहीं मिला है. So you'll have the list, and anyways we'll be, working with the handouts in the class, so that will not be a problem. You'll get a practice book, and there'll be a lot of online practice material that I will be mailing it to you. The practice book also, I will be telling you the order of study. I'll tell you the exact order in which we'll be studying. We'll have to start with quants, because you cannot understand portfolio, equity, fixed income, derivatives, and corporate finance ka portions without doing quants. So the next class, we start exactly with the first chapter of quants. That's where we start off with. Right? I'll give you the order of the study. The online practice material will be sent to you. You don't have to purchase anything other than Schweizer and calculator. Baki everything I'll take care of. कितना कैसे practice करना है वो बता दूंगा. तो वो सारा चीज़ I'll take care of. Problem क्या होता है? There are a lot of people who are working. So yes, working people can find time and they can cover the classes. The classes will be around 120 to 150 hours or something. For the live people, it's okay. For the video classes, that's the duration. And so, अब कोई के पास अगर कोई someone is taking 6 months, then you can do that 120 hours in 5 months and keep 1 month for revision. If someone wants to prepare only in 3 months, then they'll have to cover that 120 hours in the 2 months, 2.5 months time, and 15 days revision. So for those, yes, 2 months में भी prepare होता है, 1 month में भी लोग prepare करते हैं. तो ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. There are people who can't even prepare in 6 months also. So the point is, whenever you're starting, start very attentively. You have 5 months, so now 4 months I need to complete, 1 month I'll take for revision. Okay, I'm starting 3 months before, 2 months I need to complete, 1 month for revision. Or a half a month, 20 days for revision. So that's how you plan your revision time. With respect to practicing also, I'll tell you now, suppose agar time zyada hai, so obviously I would recommend everybody to practice. So order of practice and all, na, you'll get a list pura. Basically what I do is I make it easy for you guys कि ethics practice करना है, fixed income करना है, alternate पूरा करना है, ये topic का ये order priority है, time है तो ये करो, नहीं है तो ये मत करो. So I'll tell you, ये तो करना ही है. This you have to do. Then if you get time, this you should try and do. This if you have a lot of time, then do. Otherwise it's okay. This one try to do. Like in fact even with your e-books, that is your institute material, I'll tell you which exact chapters के लिए you need to practice from the institute material. Because you cannot study so much. It's not possible to cover the institute material and the Schweizer and everything. So whatever extra is needed to be given along with the Schweizer, I will take care of that. Right? That is, so you need to purchase your Schweizer, you need to purchase your calculator. Right? Okay. Uske baad, when you're studying, try to understand कि अभी अगर say for example you're studying, I taught you quants today, I did a time value of money, I did 2 chapters today. Make sure you're studying that in the next 3-4 days, because you'll take 2 hours to revise that and study that and understand that. If you defer that to another 2 weeks later, you'll take 4 hours for the same thing. So it's always better that you are studying along with me. Just keep yourself updated with me and it will be sorted. The second thing is, Schweizer में now you'll have to revise the whole material immediately before the exam. 10 दिन में 5 बुक रिवाइज करना है, क्योंकि एग्जाम इज वन डे, इट्स नॉट लाइक वन सब्जेक्ट वन एग्जाम, वन सब्जेक्ट वन एग्जाम. सो यू नीड टू रिवाइज द होल ऑफ द कंटेंट एट अ स्ट्रेच. दैट इज व्हाई आई एडवाइज यू कि Schweizer में बुक्स में ट्राई टू पुट मोस्ट ऑफ द थिंग्स इन बुक्स, ट्राई टू कीप योर मिडिल शीट्स इन बुक्स, ट्राई टू कीप मोस्ट ऑफ द नोट्स इन द बुक इटसेल्फ, नॉट इन अ सेपरेट कॉपी. इट्स ईजियर, ट्रस्ट मी. बुक्स में साइड में ना शॉर्टन करते रहिए. अब Schweizer में क्या है, आपके बुक में क्या है, यू विल सी अ सम व्हिच हैज बीन डन इन 1.5 pages. The summary of the sum is खाली इतना सा, do this, do this, do this. मतलब 3 लाइन में you can write the summary of the sum. Economics का बात करते हैं. Economics में क्या हुआ? Suppose अगर interest rate ऊपर जाएगा, therefore the RBI will do this, will go down, price will go down, demand will go down, supply will go up. I'm just randomly telling you. इसके ऊपर 20 lines का एक paragraph है, तो write this at the side. Exam के time में you'll revise just this much, right? So quants में मैं शुरू में आप लोग को कराऊंगा ऐसे, but then you will have to summarize your content. You'll have to work it out this way. It will be very easy for you when you're revising. Try to keep a middle sheet in all the 5 books. Formulas खुद के handwriting में लिखना. If you have a formula, let's say I have a formula, let's say amount is equal to principal into 1 plus r to the power n. Now इसको dash दे करके you write something, इसको dash दे करके you write something, इसको dash दे करके you write PV. So you put it in your color, in your handwriting, you'll understand easily. Formula sheet I will also give you. Formula sheet is there behind the book also. But always advisable, create your own formula sheets. Don't sit one day to just make formulas. While studying, you keep on updating that formula sheets while studying. Then you'll be able to put in much more content in the formula sheet. So do that. दूसरा एक और चीज करेंगे, हर एक बुक में एक एक और शीट इंसर्ट डाल करके रखेंगे. वो शीट में whatever mistakes you will make ना, like I know the mistakes, like in the calculator यहाँ पे ये mistake करते हैं students. I'll keep on telling you that don't make this mistake, don't make this mistake. Keep a list of those mistakes. उससे क्या होगा, एग्जाम के पहले you'll read those mistakes, you'll be consciously avoiding. यहाँ ध्यान रखना है, यहाँ ये ध्यान रखना है, यहाँ ये ध्यान रखना है. Trust me, with a lot of experience I'm telling you, it helps. It helps. So mistake का sheet बताइएगा. With a lot of experience as a student, I'm telling you, because I am a student and I need to tell you, how to study exactly. What is gonna help. So do that. Underline करना. Okay, in this book, I'll just show you. I flaunt her. She's been my first student. So in this book, say for example, she's underlined this 4 words over here, this word over here, and she's written these things. इसके अलावा कुछ practice ही नहीं करना है पूरा page में. मतलब when you're revising, this is the whole core, मतलब the whole crux of the page. You're getting it? So you need to shorten it this way. I mean, if you see, it'll be pura filled up. So over here, this is the whole summary of this. So try to do those things. It'll be very important. It'll be very helpful. So that is about how you're supposed to be studying. Requirements, books and calculator I've told you. Practice material I'll give you. And मैं वो practice material को use करने का भी पूरा list बना दूंगा. That this is the first thing you do. This is what you do. So don't worry about it. Eligibility. So eligibility with the institute, there are three ways in which you can start off. Either you're in the final year of your graduation. The second one is you're a graduate. There is one that you need to have 4 years of experience, and there is a last one that you have a combined work experience and graduation of 4 years, right? So these are the eligibility criteria with which you can start. If you do not have a passport, you cannot even register for the exams. So those who do not have the passport, please immediately get it made, because your next deadline is going to be somewhere in the middle of February, right? So you need that. That is your eligibility. Registration process, you'll need a credit card to go ahead with the registration, and you will have to register online. There is no document that you need to send them. They will not send you any document. You are not sending them any document. It's all online. You just need a credit card to register, right? The next one is your dates and fees and deferring exams. A lot of people ask me a question, if I register for June and if I want to defer. If you have a medical emergency and all, something happens or something, you can always click the photos and scan the copies and mail it. The institute will decide whether they'll allow you to defer or not to defer. That is up to them. With respect to fees and the due dates, the institute requires a $450 fee. That is, a $450 is going to be a registration one-time fee. Exam fees is going to be, if you had registered in the first attempt, that is 21st September tak, if you had registered for your June exam, you would have had to pay $650 plus $450. Now you will be registering by mid-Feb, I think 15th of February. You'll have to pay $450 plus $860, $1310. And if you delay it further and you pay by mid-March, it will be $450 plus $1280. So make your payments. The next deadline is mid-Feb. You can always go to the institute's website and check for those deadlines, right? The next one I needed to talk about was, can we manage with a job? Yes, even I'm managing. I have 7 days of work over here. I'm here with you guys 7 days. I'm actually 7 days of work. I have my work, but I'm studying. I had another exam last 2 weeks back. I have another exam in March, and apparently I'll have to study quite a lot for that. So whatever. So you'll have to study. Even when my exam will be there, I'll be studying with you guys. I'll be doing the CIPM. That's the next exam of CFA Institute. That's the other degree of CFA Institute. So there is no end to studying. So I would always say कि जो भी job कर रहे हैं उसके साथ manage करना है, होगा manage. You'll have to find a couple of extra hours after your work. Start early, start studying थोड़ा सा office के बाद, start using your weekends, compromise a little on your holidays and all. हो जाएगा manage. If you want something, you'll have to pay for it. Free में कुछ नहीं मिलेगा. So job के साथ it's absolutely manageable. Lot of people do that. Then it is time needed to study. So you've got about 120 to 150 hours of classes. You do the classes, you study, you keep on updating. So I've done a chapter, you do it yourself. जल्दी करेंगे तो कम time लगेगा, देरी से you'll keep on piling up your work. It will obviously take a lot of time. So ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. Institute में वो 300 hours, 400 hours, I don't understand all that. Simple logic is there. I've got 18 study sessions, I've got 10 subjects. So let's say I've got 150 hours का class. तो अगर मेरे पास 5 months है, I'll keep 1 month out, I'll keep 4 months. So 4 months, 150 hours. 150 divided by 4, उतना class and उतना पढ़ाई should be done in a month. If I have, let's say, 3 months left, so 3 months में 150 hours, 50 hours का class plus my study needs to be done in a month. So content wise देखो rather than looking at number of hours. So you need to have a content कि इतना content cover करना है. वो आपके ऊपर है कितना स्पीड आपको लगता है. A lot of people have this question, maths नहीं है, manageable. Engineers है, manageable. And there's another question that I have not been in touch with studies for a good while. It's okay. The first 5, 10 hours, 20 hours to actually sit, concentrate and study will be difficult for you. But then you'll manage, you'll get in the mode. You've not been in touch with studies for the last 4-5 years, say for example. थोड़ा time लगता है, but you'll always get back into the study mode. The next one is those who want to start early. There are a lot of people who want to start studying for December right now. They're more than welcome. You can, if you're a video class student, you can enroll that way. You can watch the videos until December, and right now you enroll and you can watch for another year, the whole year if you want to prepare. And if you're live class students also, you can attend the classes in this batch. You can revise it in the next batch. Obviously, we can't charge you the amount of money twice for the same thing. And मेरे लिए अच्छा है, अगर 2 बार करते हैं तो मेरा pass rate is better. You study more, you work hard. मेरे को क्या फर्क पड़ रहा है? So whatever is there, whatever syllabus change, so you can always attend, na? And you can always get the updates. So even if there is a syllabus change, it will be taken care of. June and December में syllabus change नहीं होता है. December से June में next year syllabus change होता है. तो it's on an annual basis that they change generally. Something, a little bit of modification, they do that. उसके अलावा the next question is, people ask me about the work experience requirement. You have a 4 years work ex requirement. It is not like a CA का work ex या articleship का requirement. You don't have to do internship or anything. Whether you have work experience before the CFA starts or you gather work experience after you've started doing CFA, it's fine. CFA Institute will not ask you to send a document of the work ex and all that. You need to describe, I was working in so-and-so organization from so-and-so time and this is the kind of work I was handling. It does not mean that you have to be an equity research guy. If you're related to anywhere related to the finance field, you can file that as your work experience. Another question which I get is that CFA and FRM, do I have to show separate work experience for the same? No, it's just that you need to have a work experience amount. You can show the same work experience for both the designations. You don't have to show any separate work experience. You can work in your own company and show that as a work experience also. It is work experience that they need. It is not an articleship, apprenticeship or a internship. That is not what it is. Right, and work experience can be done a little later also. There is you can read those criteria and all, that after completion of your CFA you can get your work experience, because 4 years you're asking. So obviously it's going to take time to gather. Articleship is not counted as work experience. The next question I get is with respect to the job prospects and scope. So I'll be very upfront with that. When you're looking at an MBA college or even an undergraduate college, Xavier's, JDBI, whatever college you're looking at, companies come to your college, they take you for placements. आपका placements college से होता है. CA का if you talk about CA final clear करने के बाद, you can sit in the campus placement and companies come interview CA and take away. CFA, FRM, campus placement does not happen. Even the IIM Calcutta was not able to place everybody in one of the years behind. So, and even when you look at CA, 5-10% maximum people are going to be placed through the institute. The rest of the 90-95% people are going to find their jobs. Just the way they find it, we are also going to find a job by ourselves. Through LinkedIn, through HRs, through friends applying in companies, and you'll get a job based on that. So campus placement nahi hai. So I will not be misguiding you or overselling. You've got the Indian Association of Investment Professionals, IAIP. You network, meet people, interact. You look at those job applications, those job opportunities. Okay, JP Morgan has got an opening, this has got an opening. So you apply like everybody does. But obviously if you have a CFA designation, it helps you with respect to getting into the correct profile in the correct company. With a BCom graduate, the company knows that isko finance nahi aata hai. CFA matlab you know finance, and obviously the company is going to hire you if you're good with that. Now the second question I get is कि CFA को India में job मिलता है कि abroad में better मिलता है? Abroad में in general for every job there is a better pay. So obviously for CFA also there will be better pay. Even a CA who gets a 5 lakh over here will get a 30 lakh in Dubai, say, or a 15 lakh over there. So CFA के लिए भी that thing is applicable ना. So it's not just CFA को abroad में better job मिलता है. The next thing I'll comment is, see, try and understand. Once you do your CFA does not mean कि you will get a job. आज मेरे को पढ़ाई आता है, लेकिन अगर उसको मैं implement नहीं कर पाऊंगा, if you cannot sell yourself in the interview, if you can't talk in the interview, just because you've done with your CFA does not mean you'll get a job. If you can't talk, your presentation skills, the way you talk, all those things have to be improved. You have to be very good with your general knowledge about the markets, about economy in general, about politics in general. So start reading immediately. The next thing is you need to be very good with your Excel skills and PPT skills, because it's a part of your finance area. Right? Your Excel, because if you cannot work, company में जा करके तो sum solve नहीं करेंगे ना OMR sheet पे. कंपनी के जा करके यू आर गोइंग टू बी वर्किंग ऑन MS Excel on your softwares and all. So you need to be good with your Excel skills. So obviously these are the selling points when you're looking for a job. So you need to have an overall thing. A CA or a CFA or an MBA just tells you कि okay मेरे को इतना आता है theoretically. Now I need to get into the work mode. So start working on yourself. In fact, we are going to be having an equity competition over here. For my students, I've organized something that we'll have a proper equity analysis competition for all my students. We do the Excel classes also. We have a corporate training in Excel. So corporate training for students we do for Excel. So I do a lot of corporate training, so something of that sort. So improve on your skill set. Start reading books. I'll be sharing books with you. Start reading those. I'll be sharing management, business, finance, novels and all. So उसका PDF का links आपको मिल जाएगा. Download करिए, पढ़िए. I'll send all the books. I'll mail you all the PDFs of the books and all. But वो पढ़ना आपको पड़ेगा. In fact, in the last batch, I wanted to have a book reading session. Ki 15 people, 20 people read, different books, or in fact, more number of people. So I had given those books. Ki book पढ़ के आओ. We'll have a 1 hour, 2 hour का discussion one day. Not my class. I'm not compromising on my 3 days का class. An extra day. So extra day, I'll take you out for breakfast or something. You come up, you read, and everybody discusses which book you've read. So 20 people talk about 20 different books. सोचो कितना knowledge मिलेगा for so many books you'll understand and you'll have a summary of. So those initiatives, you'll have to take that. तो वो सारा चीज होना चाहिए. Then you'll not be able to complain कि मेरे को job नहीं मिल रहा है. What an MBA school does is you have a lot of Excel done over there. You have a lot of presentation work done over there. You have a lot of grooming done over there. They'll tell you that, read a book and 5 hours के बाद में I need a PPT. So one, your reading speed goes up because you have to read a book in such a short time. Your attention span has to go up. And one, you have the PPT to be made, so PPT skills goes up. I can convert a I can convert a very ugly data into a very good looking presentation into 10 minutes, in a 10-minute time, even if it's a 40 slide, 80 slide presentation. So that speed, and उसके बाद में उसको present करने का तरीका. But when you look at content wise, any day a CFA would have much more content because MBA is 1 year of HR, marketing, everything. Second year is finance specialization. You have other subjects, and we are studying finance as a core. But if you can't sell yourself, don't expect to get a job. So a lot of people question me कि job नहीं मिलता है CFA से and all. So that is what it is. If you're good, if your content is good, your Excel skills are good, your presentation skills are good, you know about, your economics, politics का knowledge is good. Why would a person not take you? उसको आपका MBA से पैसा नहीं मिलता है. What you're going to be earned for the company is why you're being employed. If I'll earn a company of a crore rupees, they'll give me 10 lakh rupees. If I can't earn them anything, they'll not give me anything. Simple. Bolo, job prospect is okay. So your job areas would be in all the investment banking profiles, in all the finance areas, equity research areas, financial, banking sector, and all kind of companies का finance profiles में corporate finance, all those profiles में treasury management का department होता है, working capital management department होता है, so all those risk management department is there, so all those departments you'll have a place. So finance, anything to do with finance, a CFA will find a place over there. So investment banking, equity research, mergers, acquisitions, financial advisory, consulting, financial consulting, Big Four, EY, PwC, KPMG and all. So over there in the financial areas, in the M&A, transaction advisory, so all these places you'll have a lot of scope when you're looking at finance. The next one is, okay, how to prepare and all, how purchase books and all I've told you. Doubt solving के लिए you can always now say for example on your Saturday, I think Saturday का आपका class है शायद, live class. So live classes के लिए Saturday के बाद में I have an hour free. So you can discuss your doubts. Even Sunday I'll be free. कोई दिन possible I might need to go, but generally after Sunday I don't have a class. Before your class I have a class, so I can't do your doubts. So you can always text me or you can ask me, कब doubts करना है. You can ask me in the class only right now and we can solve the doubts that way. For the video students, those who are going to be doing the live video classes, they'll have their we are building a platform and all also for you, but they can WhatsApp me the doubt. I'll give you the time. I'll keep a time, कि Monday evening 9 to 10 के बीच में whoever wants to do the doubt, accumulate the doubt, WhatsApp the images, call up, do the doubts. So I'll give you the time. Just within that time, you can solve all your doubts. So whether it's live class or video class, all your students, all the doubts of yours will be taken care of, obviously, right? That is with respect to your doubts. Another question that I get is with respect to the overlap between CFA, FR and CA, kaun sa kare, kaun sa nahi kare. CA has got one subject in finance. We are doing a full degree in finance. So that is one thing. And the CFA, again, the credibility is global for CFA. I'm not demeaning any credibility of CA. I'm very proud to be a chartered accountant. But CFA is a global designation. It's a FRM is a global designation, but when you're looking at business in India, CA is also a very important thing because you learn, if you want to understand tax, cost, accounts, everything, you'll have to go for a CA. CFA will not help there. But if you want to get into the finance area, the business decisions, the financial decisions and all, obviously CFA is going to be very, very, very helpful, right? So there's an overlap. CA has got one subject on finance. CFA is a full-fledged course on finance. When you look at FRM, CFA level 1, 2, 3 all combined, FRM part 1 में there will be 40% का overlap. All 3 levels of CFA combined will have an overlap of 40% with FRM 1. FRM 2 is totally different. FRM 1 is going to build a base for you in finance, and FRM part 2, that's the second level of FRM, that is into totally risk management subjects. So there is no overlap between FRM part 2 and CFA any of the levels. CFA level 1 का कुछ कंटेंट FRM 1 में, 2 का कुछ कंटेंट FRM 1 में, 3 का भी कुछ कंटेंट FRM 1 में आपको मिलेगा. So that's the overlap part between CFA, FRM and CA. With respect to your backup, so live students, any problem is there, the backup will be availed. I'll just brief you about that. And for the video students, you can always watch the videos. There'll be quite a few. This video will be uploaded on YouTube. Along with that, there'll be the first few classes of Quansus uploaded on YouTube. You can always watch those on my website rather. You can watch those videos over there. If you like those videos, you can subscribe to the lectures. The details will be given comment section mein. And if it's not there, you can always WhatsApp or text or mail or whatever. You can always connect with us and we'll get back to you with the details. And you can watch the classes. You like the class, you get the classes delivered to your place and you can study. That's all. Practice and all is taken care of. I think I've answered more or less all the questions. So all the practice, you need your Schweizer and calculator, handouts, practice book bhi milega aap log ko, and soft copy mein bhi काफी कुछ मिलेगा. All that will be taken care of by us. I think any questions, anything that I've not answered, anything that I've missed out on? Any questions at all? Sure, everybody.